So good. I, for one, I've spent a lot of time on doorsteps and doing telephone canvassing, and at first it feels a little weird, but I love it. It's a great opportunity to connect with people in your communities, hear what people really have to say. You might be intimidated at first, but if people don't want to talk to you, then you move on to the next person, and it's a lot of fun. I'm going to talk about fundraising. I love fundraising, and very few people will say that. But let's be real, you know, some people are going to win a campaign on a shoestring, but that's not really the plan, right? So money matters. If you want to win elections, you need money, okay? And the first thing is you need to be comfortable asking for money. I worked with candidates, I worked with elected officials who are very uncomfortable, and that can slow you down. So we need to take some time and figure out in your own mind how you're going to get comfortable with it. For me, it's that I know that if I'm working for a candidate or I'm supporting someone's election campaign, it's because I believe in them and because I believe they're going to make a difference in their community. And I know I want them to win. And for them to win, they need money. So I don't feel bad about it for 1 second. Your job is to communicate to your supporters and the people in your community. If you want me to win, I need resources. And if people can't support you, if people don't support you, that's fine. But to me, that's the pitch. I want to win, I want to make a difference in this community, and in order to do that, I need funds. So we talked a little bit earlier about the roles in your campaign, and so whether or not you have 10 people or 2, you will want someone who's going to take responsibility for fundraising. The candidate is going to play an important role in this. Their network is very important. They'll need to do a lot of direct solicitation themselves, but it needs to be coordinated. When you're building your plan, when you're building your strategy, you need a fundraising plan. And start to be realistic. How much money do you need for the kind of campaign you want to run? Right? Not everybody needs millions, but you're going to need a little bit. Some of the fundamentals of fundraising, the best way to get money is to ask for it. You'd be surprised. It's not always hard. If people want you to win, they're going to be willing to give you money. Maybe they not give you $1,000, but they might give you 20. If we think of how Obama won his first round of elections, he had a broad base. A lot of people gave him $5 or $10. So depending on the demographic of your community, maybe you don't have people who are going to give you $50 or $100, but maybe you have 100 people who are going to give you 20, right? Or even 5 or 10. When you pull it all together, it makes a really significant impact. Sometimes people get really creative and run really novel fundraising methods, and sometimes that works. But the tried and true really works. Calling people on the phone, asking them for money, asking on the doorstep, soliciting through your community groups, or if your candidate's not really well known in the community, getting high-profile supporters to also help with the fundraising. You want to work the networks that you have access to. And it's great if you can have some larger fundraising events as a part of your strategy. It's an opportunity to get press, it's an opportunity to increase your profile in the community, but to always be cautious with those that the energy and funds that it's going to take to organize, that you're still making money at the end. So I've been in some pretty heated debates about whether or not to have a gala fundraiser. They're really great, and if you do it right, it's a lot of money. But if you don't do it right, it's a lot of work. And if you don't end up with any funds walking out the door, then you need to make sure it's worth all of those efforts. Ensure that your fundraising team represents your ward. So maybe you only have a particular network, you need people from your community who are across the networks who are going to be able to pull in different sections, but can also have a good understanding how everyone's going to react to your plan, right? If you're working with community groups, maybe you want someone from a local business group too, who knows how to access those people. You want to keep all of that in mind, and your friends and family should help you. I mean, I don't know if maybe for some people that's going to be more of a delicate ask, but they want to see you succeed, so you need money. So we went over this a little bit. The personal appeal is a good strategy. Mailing, it's a bit more expensive, so you want to be strategic. What letter are you sending to who is an important question to ask. But if you have a little bit of money at the beginning of your campaign, that's a great way to start. You'll start with your supporters, right? It's the people that you know are going to give you money are great people to send a letter to, but you don't want to, at the cost of a letter, send it to people who are your opponents. And then, as I said, a special event is a great way. And I like this little acronym TRUST. I think it's a good guide, or it's a good way to guide some of your reflections about fundraising. So you want to ask, who's your target? Who's willing to contribute? You don't want to just run around willy-nilly trying to collect money. And then what's your rationale? What's the motivation for that donor, right? What is going to connect with them that makes them want to contribute to your campaign? Use is one that I really like. Make it clear to people what you're going to do with the money. So you'll see people say, if you give me $20, that buys me 100 flyers. People can then understand directly how they're going to help you win. If you give me $50, it buys 2 signs. This is really popular, and then people don't feel like their funds are just kind of going into, I don't know, some kind of bottomless pit, right? What's your style? What method are you going to use for asking for donations? And then what's the typical amount? You'd be surprised, but it helps to say, we suggest that you give this much. If you can, or more or less is fine, but we suggest this. So those are some starting points. As I said, we're really packing in a lot of info today, so we have some detailed webinars online about fundraising, and there's some more details in the toolkit on the table. But I think the first step is really to become comfortable with it. People want you to win, so they're going to want to give you funds. So now we'll move to a little discussion.
Okay, the next person who wants to talk here, Rona.
What I would like to tell you, when you're starting this whole process, make sure that you know the rules about fundraising. I don't know what the rules are here in Ontario. We're just looking at changing some of the rules in British Columbia. They can be very strict about, who gave you the money, how much money was raised. Sometimes, like in BC, we have to open a bank account. But to protect yourself and your integrity, make sure that you know where the money is coming from and where it's been paid out to.
She's, Rona, of course, is from British Columbia. You're in Ontario.